Okay, so here we are. We're going to get the information from the PC into the TauRIS clock. Inside the USB converter package, where the small disc was, you'll see a cable like this all coiled up. This cable I use all the time. It's just an extension to the USB converter. So we'll just reconnect that together. And instead of plugging the USB converter directly into the PC, we plug the short cable into the PC. Here is the TauRIS power supply with a connector which goes into the side of the clock, which you will need for getting the information from the PC to the clock. They are the two cables, as I said, which you need, which all connect together. I've got the two cables and connected them together, which again, self-explanatory. There's the short cable, this is the PC cable. That connects to that. Then we connect the PC cable to the USB converter. There's another cable. What we do now is the TauRIS clock is here. Fantastic construction, fantastically manufactured. Is you plug the 15-pin connector into the top of the clock. It's the only one way it can go. As you can see, there is no power to the clock. I'm going to show you the quickest way of getting the information from the PC to the clock first. And this is what we do. First of all, you click on Program and you click on Set. And you can see there's a tick under COM port 4 and there's a tick in that box. If I move this along, the USB converter along to the next USB port hole on this PC, that will have a different COM port. So we click on Program, click on Set, and it's brought up COM port 9. So we'll leave it in COM port 9 and just press Save. So what we need to do now, the quickest way is we put the power lead in the side of the clock and it lights up. It's irrelevant what name is on there. And you press Start on the clock and you press number 3. And as you'll see, it says COM/PC and a list of numbers. What you do next is you click on Communication. You highlight Communication on the PC, which is there. As you can see, the top one says Send Loft from the PC to the terminal. We select Send Loft PC to terminal. You've heard the clock bleeped. It now says G&A Tomlinson DY1453 assignment. That means the clock's gone straight into assignment mode, because all these birds now need an ETS ring number. But I'm going to show you the second way of getting the information from the PC. There's two ways you can do it. So this time we'll take the power lead out the side of the clock and it's gone blank again. The second way you do it is you click on Terminal on the PC, which is clearly there, and that brings up a list of boxes, because if you were loading two fancies you'd have to do it this way anyway. So we are at the top one. The clock is a TauRIS Compact XL and we're only loading one fancier. So it brings up a square box. If there was a blue line racing through that box now, it would mean that the COM port needs resetting. So you'd cancel it and go back to Program and you'd move the USB converter into a different port hole and then press Save. It's a common fault, because the best thing to try and remember is try and use the same COM port on the PC every time, and then you won't get mixed up and won't have to keep resetting the COM ports. But what we do this time to load the clock is we hold the number 6 in on the clock and we keep the number 6 pressed in, and we put the power lead in the side keeping 6 pressed in, and as you'll see, a blue dotted line started going across the PC screen. We can now take the finger off number 6 and we'll just let that blue line, it will load itself going across the computer screen. When it reaches the other side of the computer screen, you will hear the clock bleep again. we'll just wait. It takes roughly 35 to 40 seconds to load, but you will then be aware of the two ways you can get the information from the computer into the clock. As I said, it's very easy. We're nearly there. There's the bleep. The clock says please wait. And what we do now, communication again. Click on communication. Drop down box, send loft, PC to terminal. So we just highlight that one and press left click on the PC, and the information is there again. G&A Tomlinson. What this means now is stock 8 and then 4 zeros. It means that there's 8 pigeons loaded into this clock, of which none have got an ETS ring. Today's date is the 27th of the 9th, and 14:22 and 20 seconds is the time it's picked up off the PC. So the clock could be an hour out because they come from Germany tested, but it could be 3 days out, 4 days out, because it'll only take the information from the PC. So if your PC clock is wrong, this will be wrong. But once this clock is struck against the club master timer, it automatically corrects itself with no problem whatsoever. But what we're going to do next is we're going to now go into the assignment program, which is the next thing you would do. So all these birds will have an ETS ring number registered next to their name, and the next thing after that is we retrieve the information then from the clock to the PC. So when we click on pigeon next time, all these birds will have an ETS ring number at the side of them. Then the last thing we ever do is we input the race points. So I will add some race points and show you that the race points go into the terminal. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the club equipment, show you how it all connects together, and we shall assign the birds. Okay? Right, here we are again. As I said to you, I'll show you exactly how to assign pigeons. But first I want to explain the equipment to you. All this equipment, including the printer, is all the club equipment. The only thing that you would have here is some rings and the clock. So I'll start by explaining things. Here is a compact interface. What the compact interface does is, inside this box at the bottom is one of these. This is the entry sensor. Also inside this box you would have, inside a little bag, 2 little grey commission rings. They're called com rings. They are very important and need to be kept safe, as you'll see the reason why when we come to mark for a race. So I'll just put them down for now. What you connect to the entry sensor is the compact interface. So we take that out of its bag. Little screwdriver. Once it's connected, I always advise people to leave it connected. There's only 2 ways it can go: 9 pin to 9 pin, male to female. And what you do is you just screw it up, keeps it together. So that's his entry sensor already. In this box here is the club master timer. It can be wall mounted if need be, or as we do, it can just be freestanding. I still look at the back. Here's the signal. As I said, that picks its signal up from Cumbria. So that is your master timer. Box out of the way. And inside here is a very important piece of kit. This is a multi-system node. As you'll see, it's got various portholes on it. Quite self-explanatory. It says radio clock there, so obviously the radio clock plugs into there. It says printer there, so the printer would plug into there. And it says entry sensor there, so that is the entry sensor would plug into there. Now you can see why we've added the compact interface, because obviously that wouldn't fit into that hole there. At the bottom it says TauRIS. This is where you fit the TauRIS cable, which would then connect you to your clock, as I will clearly show you step by step. But there is a sequence of connecting this equipment together, and I'll repeat it and I'll keep repeating it. Is the first thing you must connect to the multi-system node is the radio clock, and it must be done in that sequence. I hear people say, yes, but I've done it in a different sequence and it works okay. It will, but guaranteeing it every time, you must connect the radio clock first. So we'll now start by connecting the equipment together. I'll move some of these boxes. So to get us started, set the radio clock. So there is the multi-system node, there's the radio clock, there is the plug into the radio clock porthole, and just nip it up. Okay, that's the radio clock connected. The next thing is the printer. ETS printers must be DOS compatible, they must be parallel port. In other words, have a 32-pin connector. That just fits into the back of the printer. Here is the power lead for the printer, so that goes in the power. And we'll just turn that around out of the way. And the other end of the parallel port cable plugs in where it says printer. Again, just nip it up. That's two things connected. The third thing we now connect is the entry sensor. So you can just use as much cable as you need. It has the length of cable for clubhouses, especially if the marking is quite a bit away from the electricity or whatever. So we now plug that into where it says entry sensor. I don't nip that up because it's quite a tight fit anyway. And we now put the cable in to where it says TauRIS at the bottom. On here you'll see it says Bricon, Unicon, Tippers and U-Knives. That's for if other people bring their clocks along with their adapters, they would plug into them portholes. But we're going to assign TauRIS ETS rings to a TauRIS clock. Here it says 12 volt. That is the power to power all this equipment up. There is your power supply. So we'll plug that into the mains. And you just plug that into the 12 volt power supply. We turn the printer on. And we come along with our clock, which we know has got 8 pigeons in. And we're going to give all these 8 pigeons an ETS ring. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to get my rings together and we'll go through plugging the clock in and assigning each pigeon. I will also tell you why I'm going through it, different things that can happen and different things I've seen done. For example, if I connect this clock, I'm going to take the power lead out of here. If I connect this clock to the club equipment, and I've seen this happen so many times, we put the power lead into the side of the clock and try to put the clock into assignment mode, which you do by pressing 7. It comes up with a row of things saying entry sensor. That's because the power lead is in the side of the clock and not into the porthole where it should fit. So you don't just put the power lead back in, you always disconnect the clock before doing anything. So as I said, I'll get my rings together and we'll assign them 8 pigeons.